Hey Aaron, we've got your X450 here with fixed carbon fiber landing gear, as well as your Fat Shark FPV goggles and your Turnigy 9X. We're going to go into some of the details about your package right now and some of the functions and programming that we've set up for you. So we're going to start with the transmitter. Okay, let's start off with your transmitter. What I've done here is I've color-coded your switches. So you can see we've got blue right here and yellow right here. So blue is your flight mode. This will take you between GPS, attitude, and manual mode. So top position is what it defaults at. It starts out in that. That's a green blinking LED on your NASA unit. So that's GPS. We're going to start in that one. If you move it to the middle position, that is attitude mode. It's GPS attitude, so it's still governed by the GPS at that point. So you'll still feel like you have more control. You'll get a little bit more sporty flight out of your quad in attitude mode. But if you want full manual mode, full control of the quad, it's all the way down. You won't have a light on your NASA blinking for you, so when there's no light, it's just strictly a manual mode. It takes full constant stick input on the controller to keep control of your quad. Unless you're an experienced pilot, I highly recommend staying out of manual mode. So let's go back into GPS mode. Now, regardless of what mode you're in, at any point, you can hit this yellow switch right here. Clicking this forward just like that will make it take control of itself, fly back to the area, its GPS location that it started at. It'll land, and then it will shut off the motors for you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to spin this around and we're going to talk about the Dragon Link. Alright, and what I've kind of done here is the way this sets up with the Turnigy motor, it plugs into this where this module would normally plug in. It has to be modified in order to use this. So what I've done for you, and as far as the mounting goes, I mounted this according to spec, but some people like to put Velcro or other type of adhesives on this to mount it, and so I figured rather than do that to your equipment, I just put rubber bands on here. That way it works awesome as it is, but if you wanna take the step to put like Velcro or an adhesive or something on there, I'll let you do that and fix that the way you want. Otherwise, you got rubber band back here so that these things don't touch and rub together, and then of course that keeps it on there nice and stable. Now what we got down here is this cord going in, this servo cable going in right down here where it says radio. What that's doing is that's going into the back of your Turnigy right there, okay? And that's plugging into a port. Now the reason I have this module right here out and taped is because normally what they have you do when you do this setup is pull this out a little bit and clip the antenna wire. So therefore the antenna inside the actual Turnigy is no good then. So you have to use a Dragon Link. The way I've set it up here is that in this way the Dragon Link is going to work, so when you power in your transmitter, it automatically powers on your Dragon Link and you'll get a light right there on that. So this is set to high power, just leave it like that. You don't need to mess with anything on here. If you want to change your antenna, I've got the standard one on there now, but it does come with an extended range one here, so you'll have that and you can put that on there as well. Make sure you hand tighten, but not too tight on that at all. You just want to get as tight as necessary, but you can put that one on there as well. So that's how we have your Dragon Link set up. Again, turning on your transmitter will turn on your Dragon Link automatically. That's what this modification does. Otherwise, it would be wiring inside the transmitter and then external battery to this, which keeping it all in one is excellent for the setup. So the way this is set up, everything's ready to rock and roll. And again, you can change your rubber bands if you want, but I put that on there just because it works great. It keeps it from rubbing and scratching, and it can be removed that way. So that's how you're going to function your Dragon Link. Just simply turn on your transmitter. It will power on your Dragon Link. You're good to go, and you'll default in GPS mode. So that's an overview of your transmitter. Now let's take a look at your quad. Alright, we're going to take a quick look at your quad. I stuck my GoPro in here that way to give you an idea of how this will set up when you get it. So let's just take a quick look at that. When you get this, you're going to have this little ring for the lens that's going to be connected to these two screws, but obviously that's where your GoPro is going to go. So remove these two screws, put the ring over the lens of your GoPro just like this, and then seat it down into here. And then attach these two bolts right there into it, and then you'll be seated just fine. Take your live video out cable right here and plug in to the side port of the GoPro. Okay, you'll see it matches. So you'll plug that in. Now, kind of just to paint a picture here, what's happening with your FPV equipment. What we have as you see your FPV battery right here, okay, and that plugs in to this. This powers the video transmitter that you see on the bottom of your quad right there with the antenna coming out of it. Okay, so how this works is you take the balance lead from that little battery right underneath there that I showed you, take that balance lead and plug it into the appropriate port on this power adapter. Once you do that, it will automatically power up that transmitter I showed you down there with the antenna on it. It comes on automatically. Right here, just hold down the power to the GoPro for a couple of seconds on your GoPro and that will come on. Now once you have done those steps, again, plug in that battery, turn on the GoPro. With your goggles right here, all you have to do is simply take this and plug it into the side of your goggles and your image will come on like magic in your goggles. So that's all you got to do. Again, recap, you'll take this little battery lead from the FPV battery that I got mounted right underneath here, plug it into the power port. That will power up that transmitter I showed you underneath there with the antenna, with the Fat Shark antenna attached to it. Turn on the GoPro with this little cable attached and plug this in and you have your FPV image on your goggles. Simple as that. One thing that's real important that I wanted to mention is the way you put your blades on. So when you get this, okay, starting with your front left, this motor rotates clockwise. As you can see, the blade is shaped for that. So this blade and this motor rotate clockwise. And its diagonal counterpart back here, same, clockwise. And then the front right is going to actually rotate counterclockwise, and you can see again the blade is cut for that. So its diagonal counterpart is also counterclockwise. So you got clockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, counterclockwise. And when you receive this, the blades are not going to be on the motors. This will be attached all in one unit. So this bolt will be loose and you're going to slide this down onto the shaft. Make sure you tighten these bolts as tight as possible without over tightening. I mean as tight as possible. If you don't, this blade will fly off. Just with any kind of blade you tried to tighten down but didn't tighten it down all the way, then if you do that, this is a spinning object, so what will happen is that will fly off and your quad will do somersaults all the way to the ground. So you don't want that to happen. So to avoid that, again, make sure your props are tight. And that's kind of a quick overview of the front of it and the features of the quad. So I hope you love it. If you have any questions, Aaron, just let us know. Give us a call or shoot us an email. And I really hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot.